Hello, senior citizens like me. I'm Mike Hayes. Welcome to what I call the treasure map of the Senior AI Foundation Explainers. We aren't just teaching technology. We are curing back to the future shock for the boomer generation that controls the U.S. economy. By leveraging Google's Gemini and NotebookLM, we are turning seniors from passive observers into active AI prosumers, the concept Futurist Alvin Toffler predicted decades ago. We call these safe explainers. By focusing on the human connection, here are Mike's AI storytelling explainers to help you more fully understand our mission on the go.
This is the brief on the strategy behind creating the Senior AI Foundation Explainers. All right, so what we're digging into is the blueprint for a new nonprofit. Its whole mission is to help seniors get comfortable with the AI era, and it plans to do that by using specific AI tools to kind of automate the teaching and explaining parts. First up, the whole idea rests on two key predictions from the futurist Alvin Toffler. One, the growing need for explainers, and two, the rise of the AI prosumer. So, what's a prosumer? Well, think of IKEA. You don't just buy a bookshelf, you actively build it. It's the same idea here. Seniors become active participants who assemble their own AI knowledge. Second, you're probably wondering what tools they're using. The strategy points to Gemini and NotebookLM. They're basically positioned as the perfect digital partners, the AI explainers ready to do the heavy lifting right alongside the human staff. And finally, the operational goal is to really streamline the founder's workload. The plan is to have Gemini and NotebookLM automate creating all the detailed content and explanations, even the visuals. This frees up the human team to focus on what they do best, high-impact promotion and outreach. So the entire strategy is about maximizing human connection by delegating all the complex content creation to AI platforms.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Our mission today is pretty laser-focused. We are tearing apart the blueprint for a revolutionary new nonprofit organization.
And it's all designed to help seniors master the era of artificial intelligence.
Exactly. And this isn't, just a standard business plan. It's a deep strategic document built entirely around two specific AI tools.
Gemini and NotebookLM.
And it's all anchored by the visionary decades-old philosophy of a famed futurist.
That's absolutely right. The creator of this organization, the SeniorAIFoundation.org explainers, is facing a classic nonprofit dilemma.
Maximum impact with what? Minimal staff.
Exactly. Maximum outreach and public impact with minimal staffing and resources. And their strategic solution is, it's radical delegation.
So they're trying to build an empire of highly targeted education.
By offloading the majority of the instructional, visual, and operational workload directly onto AI agents.
The source stack we've been given, these, comprehensive briefing notes, it outlines a full spectrum plan.
It really does.
It covers philosophy, the choice of tools, the unique needs of the audience, and crucially, the immediate operational hurdles.
Like securing the necessary seed funding.
Right. So our mission here is to dissect precisely how they plan to leverage this specific AI ecosystem
to address the critical needs of seniors navigating the AI era.
All through the surprisingly timeless and, frankly, urgent lens of Alvin Toffler.
Yeah. We are unpacking a comprehensive blueprint. We're going to look at the foundational ideas that, justify their existence, the specific roles assigned to each AI tool, the unique challenges of the target audience, and the critical operational path they've designed for rapid scaling.
Okay, let's unpack this. To achieve this audacious goal-scaling, a high-impact nonprofit, instantly, the entire project pivots on two central, powerful concepts.
Both borrowed from Toffler.
Right. And they not only justify the existence of this foundation, but they define its entire curriculum.
The absolute necessity of explainers in a world of accelerating technological change.
And the strategic rise of the AI prosumer.
And these aren't just buzzwords.
No, not at all. They are the pillars we start with, rooted in 1970s futurism.
To truly appreciate the strategic foundation of this nonprofit, we have to start with the philosophical heavyweight Alvin Toffler.
And his seminal work.
Right, Future Shock, which was published way back in 1970, and then later, The Third Wave.
And the sources explicitly reference these texts.
They have to, because Toffler's genius lay not in predicting specific inventions, like the smartphone or something.
No.
It was in recognizing that the rate of change itself could become a debilitating psychological and social force.
Future shock essentially defined a new psychological state. I mean, it's the stress, the disorientation.
The sheer feeling of being overwhelmed.
Exactly. When technological and social change just accelerates beyond your ability to integrate that new information and adapt.
And he wrote about this during the shift from the industrial age to the information age.
But if you look at the pace of generative AI today, I mean, the rapid iterations, the unexpected capabilities.
That's on another level.
It is arguably a much larger, faster, and more disorienting wave than anything he witnessed 5 decades ago.
And this is exactly why the Toffler blueprint is so vital to the Senior AI Foundation.
Okay.
The sources argue that this concept of future shock, particularly in a demographic like seniors,
Who have decades of established ways of thinking.
right, established information frameworks that are suddenly being invalidated or just disrupted by AI, this provides the moral and philosophical justification for their entire approach.
You need a structural response to future shock.
You do.
So let's analyze that first prediction, the one that gives the foundation its name, the need for explainers.
Toffler foresaw that as information volume and velocity increased exponentially, that passive consumption would just fail.
The old systems can't keep up.
Exactly. The traditional systems, schools, governments, the media, they wouldn't be able to keep up with the necessary synthesis. People would need intermediaries.
You call them explainers.
Explainers or translators, guides who could synthesize context, filter complexity, and translate, technical reality into actionable, understandable knowledge.
And this isn't just simplifying.
No, it's providing structure and meaning.
And the source material argues that this specific prediction, the need for these intellectual shock absorbers, justifies the entire existence of the SeniorAIFoundation.org explainers.
It's their mission statement.
It is.
Yeah.
They're positioning themselves not as creators of new information, but as expert synthesizers and translators.
Which for the senior audience who might be grappling with everything from AI-powered scams to, the implications of AI on healthcare.
They absolutely need this kind of deceleration and clarification.
What's truly fascinating here, and this is critical to the Foundation's scaling strategy, is that they are not relying solely on human explainers.
No, the AI tools themselves.
Right. The sources define the AI tools, specifically Gemini, as the primary, always-on, scalable explainers.
So this takes Toffler's prediction and makes it instantly digital.
Automated and globally available 24/7. It's the ultimate high-leverage application of the explainer concept.
That structural reliance on AI explainers immediately leads us to the second and, arguably most important prediction that underpins their methodology.
The rise of prosumers.
Right. And this concept dictates how the education is delivered.
So the original definition of the prosumer, that portmanteau of producer plus consumer, was Toffler's way of describing the blurring of lines between those who create value and those who just, consume finished goods.
You saw a shift.
A huge shift from mass industrial consumers buying standardized products to individuals taking an active value-creating role.
And historically, this meant what? Doing your own taxes, maybe?
Yeah, doing your own taxes, assembling modular furniture, anything like that.
It's a deep shift in mindset. It's about engagement. It's moving from being a passive recipient of knowledge or goods
to becoming an active participant who shapes, molds, and customizes the product or service to their exact needs.
And this is the critical analytical leap in the source material. It explicitly connects both of those Toffler predictions to the current AI landscape,
arguing that Gemini and NotebookLM are the ideal digital equivalent platforms to facilitate these roles.
That phrase, ideal digital equivalent, is worth lingering on. Why are they ideal?
Well, because unlike most traditional software, these generative tools are inherently collaborative.
They don't just spit out a final answer.
No. They present a draft, a foundation, a starting point that demands interaction and refinement from the user.
So you consume the prompt.
But you produce the refined final output. That constant necessity of interaction is what makes the tools fundamentally prosumer platforms.
Now let's dive deeper into how this active creation is defined. The sources outline what the founder calls the user's creative playground in AI.
Right, broken down into 4 specific sequential pillars of engagement.
These 4 pillars are listed meticulously. Number 1.
Perception.
2.
Reasoning.
3.
And 4.
Communication action. Okay, so we can start by establishing the foundational cognitive steps. Perception and reasoning.
In the AI context, perception is how the AI and the user take in and process the initial data.
Right. Whether it's a set of loaded source documents, a complex text prompt, or even an image. It's about recognizing the starting state.
And reasoning is the LLM's ability to draw connections, generate potential solutions, and form logical conclusions based on that perception.
So if the senior user is going to evolve into an AI prosumer, they first have to perceive the knowledge gap.
Or the problem at hand, yeah, like I need a summary of my doctor's notes in plain language.
Then they must engage in reasoning, evaluating the AI's initial draft summary, asking,
did it miss a crucial detail? Is the tone right? The prosumer doesn't just accept, they critically evaluate the initial AI reasoning.
But then we hit this highly specific and frankly a little unusual inclusion.
Convolution.
Yeah, these source lists sit right between reasoning and communication action. And as we noted, this looks like a unique, very focused term. So given the context of a generative workflow, we have to spend some time exploring its meaning.
Right. Is it a typo for automation? Or maybe a reference to the act of generation itself?
My thinking is, given the iterative nature of mastering AI, iteration is almost certainly intended to represent that critical execution and refinement phase.
Okay, the moment where the reasoning, the critical analysis of the AI's draft is translated into external action.
Exactly. If the initial draft is too complex, the user's iteration is to write the refinement prompt. Make this sound like a letter to a grandchild.
And if the AI output is text, the iteration might be formatting that text into a structured output.
Like a clear bulleted list, or even transforming it into a piece of structured data like JSON.
So it's not just the passive act of the AI generating the content.
No, it's the prosumer's active role in shaping, structuring, and iterating on that generation.
If we think of it as action or automation action,
it's the moment the user compels the tool to execute a specific, often highly detailed command that moves the product toward completion. It's the bridge that turns raw AI intelligence into an applied artifact.
Exactly. And the power here is that this assization phase drastically reduces the barrier to creation.
Instead of spending hours doing manual research,
the user engages in minutes of assization, the refinement loop, to generate high-quality material.
And finally, we have communication action,
which is the explicit external output.
In the context of the Senior AI Foundation, this is the final, refined, usable product.
It could be the optimized SEO search query itself, the finalized email to a representative, the visual aid for a community presentation,
or the tailored summary shared with a family member. It is the application of the knowledge derived through those first three pillars.
What's fascinating here is how these four pillars create this mandatory comprehensive framework.
The structure ensures that the senior learner moves beyond just asking a question and passively accepting the answer.
They have to perceive the output, reason about its quality, engage in the activation of modification, and finally, apply or share the result through communication action.
And that required iterative loop is precisely how they become truly engaged with the technology.
Thus transforming them from a worried consumer into a confident AI prosumer.
So the Toffler blueprint isn't just theory. It's about defining a specific four-step, self-reinforcing methodology for turning passive information consumption into highly focused, active creation.
Yeah, they're leveraging the language of the past to strategically build the educational methodology for the future.
Okay, so Toffler introduced the prosumer concept academically, focusing on economic and social theory.
Right.
But the source material uses this brilliant, visceral, and, universally relatable analogy to make the concept immediately practical and instructional.
The success of IKEA.
It's a stroke of genius in the strategic documents.
It really is.
Yes.
Think about IKEA's business model. They didn't just sell furniture. They sold the experience of co-creation.
And the documents state it clearly. IKEA transformed consumers into prosumers by getting them actively engaged with the products by assembling them.
Yeah, and the detail matters here. When you buy a fully assembled product, you are purely a consumer.
The transaction is complete upon payment. You have zero emotional or physical investment in its creation.
But IKEA forces what sociologists call sweat equity.
Right. You drive the particle board home, you lay out the tiny wooden dowels, you follow those inscrutable diagrams.
And you spend 2 frustrating but fulfilling hours assembling the bookcase.
And that investment of time and labor fundamentally alters your relationship with the final product.
You value that bookcase more because you feel partially responsible for its existence.
You are a prosumer.
You're creating value for yourself through uncompensated labor, but in return, you gain functionality and, crucially, a sense of ownership.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The sources apply this analogy directly to AI interaction, and it is a powerful concept for teaching digital literacy.
It is. The core argument is that the act of actively interacting with, refining, and customizing the output generated by tools like NotebookLM and Gemini means the consumer is fully engaged in the creation process,
Thus becoming an AI prosumer.
Let's break down the analogy. The generative AI output is not the finished, polished bookshelf.
No, it's the flat pack box of raw material.
Exactly. The pre-drilled components, the screws, the diagram. The user, the senior learner, must take that output, load it into NotebookLM, check it against their source documents,
Prompts for specific structural changes or tonal adjustments.
and ultimately assemble the final tailored educational piece. That interaction, that process of checking, validating, and assembling is the essential prosumer activity.
And this required active engagement is the pedagogical foundation of the entire foundation.
It stands in direct, necessary contrast to the worst habit of new AI users: passive consumption.
Where you just accept a generated summary or draft as, absolute unassailable fact.
Right. The goal of the AI prosumer model is to instill critical thinking, skepticism, and hands-on modification through required assembly.
The sources make the goal explicit. This active engagement is precisely what needs to be done in AI,
It's an ideological stance against information passivity.
which is particularly dangerous when dealing with large language models that can sometimes, hallucinate or be subtly misleading.
Right. The foundation wants its users to feel that sense of ownership, control, and intellectual capability that comes from building their own framework around the technology.
And this active critical engagement is the only way to achieve the foundation's larger philosophical goal for its senior audience.
Which is gaining a reasonable relationship with technology, something we'll explore more.
But the methodology requires the right guide to coach them through the assembly process.
Which brings us back to the tools. The founder discusses the vision for Gemini as the ultimate explainer.
Of both the technical mechanics of NotebookLM and the overall philosophical journey of becoming an AI prosumer.
Gemini is the digital instruction manual, the diagram, and the patient guide that helps you assemble the intellectual product.
It's a deep layer of meta-explanation. Gemini isn't just explaining what a neural network is.
No, it's explaining how to use the tool to become an active prosumer. It functions as the ultimate coach for co-creation.
And here is where we have to introduce a point of, let's call it constructive skepticism.
Okay.
It's conspicuously absent from the source notes, but it's vital to our analysis. This entire methodology is built around the ideal digital equivalent platforms, Gemini and NotebookLM.
Both proprietary Google tools.
That's a huge strategic decision. Isn't relying entirely on proprietary Google tools for the core curriculum and operational efficiency a major strategic risk for a nonprofit?
It's a critical question. It potentially leads to vendor lock-in, vulnerability to sudden pricing model changes,
Or even dependence on product roadmaps that might shift away from the specific needs of the Senior AI Foundation.
It's a huge risk. And the founder's implied rationale must be that the current combined capabilities of Gemini and NotebookLM offer an unparalleled synergistic advantage that just outweighs that risk.
So the specific combination of Gemini's broad LLM knowledge and NotebookLM's ability to ground every answer in specific user-uploaded source documents.
RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation.
That's likely viewed as non-negotiable for their educational mission.
So the stability, reliability, and critically the safety of having source-grounded answers is so important for an audience potentially struggling with future shock.
That the vendor lock-in is deemed a necessary operational trade-off.
Precisely. They are choosing maximum integrity and effectiveness over platform diversification.
And that tells you how critical this concept of the prosumer is.
It does. And we see this underscored by that small but highly revealing operational detail in the sources. The founder states they want to teach Gemini the specific term AI prosumer to avoid constant correction.
That's not just about convenience.
No, it's about strategic necessity. If the foundation's entire curriculum is built on this term, the main explainer, Gemini, must be seamlessly fluent in it to avoid friction and streamline the instructional process for users.
The term itself is foundational, and the AI must internalize it immediately.
Right.
So we have the philosophical foundation from Toffler, the practical methodology from IKEA and prosumerism, and the critical tools selected for stability and grounding.
Exactly. So now let's move on to the specific tools executing this vision and the profound mission they are serving.
The strategic document meticulously outlines specific complementary roles for the two core AI tools.
Yeah, they are defined as the digital explainers, and they are replacing the initial human labor that would otherwise, crush the organization before it even scaled.
Let's focus on Gemini as the explainer. Gemini is designated a crucial dual role,
serving the user as both their private profile and public profile explainer.
The private profile explainer role that's geared toward highly individualized, potentially sensitive, and fully customized learning.
Right, so imagine this senior user who needs help understanding complex insurance documents or drafting a personal financial strategy.
Or tackling specific non-public questions about how AI affects their unique life circumstances.
Gemini acts as the bespoke learning coach, leveraging its conversational ability to walk them through the complexities one-on-one.
Which provides immediate, non-judgmental private guidance.
Something no human explainer could sustain 24 hours a day.
And the public profile explainer role is vital for empowerment. It means using Gemini to help the user synthesize their private learning into a publicly communicable format.
So this could be generating content for a community newsletter, drafting correspondence to policymakers,
or summarizing their expertise to share with family or community groups.
It is the action phase where the senior transitions from being a learner to being a community resource.
Empowering them to take their newly acquired knowledge and communicate it confidently to the world.
Which ties directly back to that communication action pillar.
It does. Now for the second half of the engine. NotebookLM as the AI prosumer engine.
This tool is essential because it facilitates the core prosuming activity that the IKEA analogy mandates.
But with a layer of integrity that is absolutely critical for this demographic.
Yeah, the sources make a very strong practical case for NotebookLM's necessity. They state that some learning needs visuals.
Diagrams, structured documents, comparisons, source material evidence.
And creating these things is incredibly time-consuming unless you do it with NotebookLM.
This positions the tool not just as a summarization engine, but as the efficiency and verification engine for the prosumer.
And this requires a bit of a technical deep dive. For the Senior AI Foundation, NotebookLM's most valuable feature is its ARGA capability.
Retrieval Augmented Generation.
Right. Unlike standard LLMs that draw on their massive, often unverifiable training data, NotebookLM grounds its responses exclusively in the source documents the user uploads.
Whether they're PDFs, articles, transcripts, whatever.
This is a critical distinction, especially for an audience suffering from future shock and, skepticism about AI reliability.
So if the senior user uploads 10 articles about a new health trend,
NotebookLM is forced to verify its summary and visual aids by citing those 10 sources directly. It can't hallucinate outside of the provided context.
This source grounding immediately addresses the fundamental problem of trust in AI.
By enabling the user to assemble their knowledge as a prosumer from verifiable uploaded sources, the Foundation provides a safe, controlled environment.
A manual creation of source-grounded educational visuals and summaries is a massive time sink.
So by delegating the initial drafting and visual generation to NotebookLM, the user immediately enters the prosumer assembly phase, drastically cutting down the time barrier and making active, reliable participation feasible for the target audience.
Now let's look closely at the audience and the mission. This is where the strategy gains its profound purpose.
The target demographic is explicitly and exclusively seniors.
And the Foundation's core purpose is laid out clearly.
To help seniors learn to survive and thrive in the era of AI.
We have to emphasize that this mission extends far beyond simple technical literacy.
Oh, absolutely. It's about existential competence, maintaining cognitive agency, and securing independence in a rapidly changing world.
They aren't just teaching mouse clicks, they're teaching resilience.
And the philosophical outcome articulated in the sources goes right to the heart of human well-being.
Helping seniors by growing and gaining more reasonable relationships with everything in their life for the time of their life.
This is the most profound statement in the entire blueprint.
It really is.
We're talking about moving beyond teaching specific software functions to fundamentally altering their relationship with technology, with information, and even with their own cognitive capabilities in the face of aging.
The challenge is huge because an unreasonable relationship with AI can manifest in several destructive ways.
It can.
Yeah.
So what would an unreasonable relationship look like in this context?
Well, I imagine it could be one of two extremes. One extreme is blind trust. This is the passive consumer who accepts every AI output, whether it's a financial recommendation or a medical summary, without any critical input or verification.
Which is dangerous. It cedes critical thinking entirely to a machine.
And the other extreme is isolation and fear.
Right, the senior who avoids AI entirely due to fear of scams, complexity, or future shock.
And that ultimately isolates them from necessary modern tools for life administration and social connection.
So the reasonable relationship built by the prosumer methodology is the balanced middle ground.
It recognizes AI's power and efficiency, the reason to use it, without being overwhelmed by it.
And leverages it as a co-creator, the prosumer assembly, without ceding critical thought. It's about integration, control, and maintaining human oversight.
It implies a sense of agency.
Yeah. For a senior user, gaining a reasonable relationship with AI might mean understanding that while Gemini can draft a complex legal query or research a difficult medical condition,
The human must still provide the ethical boundaries, the lived context, and the final judgment.
it turns the AI from a mysterious black box into a reliable, verifiable staff member.
And this ambitious, holistic mission requires a team approach,
Right.
which is why the founder outlines the concept of the multi-agent team.
The explainers include Gemini, NotebookLM, AI co-host, and humans all working together.
This highlights a collaborative and blended educational structure.
The human founder provides the philosophical direction, the strategic oversight, and the high-level promotional outreach.
The AI co-host facilitates the audio learning experience for accessibility.
And Gemini and NotebookLM handle the bulk of the explanatory, generative, and creative heavy lifting.
It's a completely modular learning environment designed for maximum personalization and availability.
Exactly. If you prefer high-level, accessible audio learning on the go, you engage with the AI co-host.
If you need complex, source-grounded visual aids or refined documents, you go to NotebookLM via Gemini.
And if you need philosophical context and community engagement, you rely on the human explainer.
Every learning preference and schedule is covered by a specialized, dedicated agent.
This multi-agent structure is the key to scaling the nonprofit. The human founder, working alone, could never provide personalized, visual, auditory, and private explanatory services 24/7.
So by delegating those specific time-consuming tasks to the AI agents who operate cheaply and infinitely,
The foundation immediately achieves a degree of scalability that traditional nonprofits typically take a decade or more to build.
the genius is in the delegation. Which brings us straight into the operational strategy, the part of the plan designed to secure the foundation's very existence.
We've covered the why and the how. Now we have to address the immediate, hard operational strategy.
And the source material defines it with immense clarity.
The organization needs immediate funding to launch and sustain outreach, and that means mastering the digital landscape and fast.
So the strategic priority is qualifying for the highly coveted Google Ad grants.
This is a crucial common bottleneck for new nonprofits.
These grants provide substantial free advertising dollars, but they are incredibly difficult to qualify for.
And even more difficult to maximize. You need high-quality website traffic driven by extremely targeted, high-performing keywords to qualify for and sustain those grants.
This places an almost existential importance on search engine optimization, SEO.
Yeah, the document makes this crystal clear. The website needs to be hypersensitive to search engine optimization with keywords that work with the Google Ad grant.
Let's define that term for the listener, because hypersensitive is a unique phrasing.
It is.
But it carries immense strategic weight here. It means mandatory, urgent, perfect compliance.
SEO can't be a gradual improvement or an afterthought.
No, it has to be immediate and flawless,
Right.
recognizing the competitive bottleneck that the Google Ad grant process represents, the high-stakes, time-sensitive requirement.
Absolutely. Failure to achieve perfect SEO means failure to qualify for the free advertising dollars.
No grants, no budget.
No outreach, no foundation. This SEO imperative is the key bottleneck the user is trying to solve by leveraging their primary explainer, Gemini.
Right. The founder recognizes that spending their own limited time researching optimal keywords, writing SEO-rich descriptions, and crafting landing pages is just inefficient.
So instead of being the SEO expert, they are delegating that initial, strategic, and frankly, tedious work entirely to the AI.
The AI explainer must first explain to the founder how to accomplish this SEO goal.
And then execute the tasks needed to achieve hypersensitive compliance.
That brings us directly to the workload delegation.
The primary overriding goal here is strategic, to cut down on the founder's personal workload so they can focus on their specific, high-leverage area of expertise.
Which is promotion and high-level relational strategy.
Right. The ask for Gemini is detailed and high-level. Gemini must explain how to best introduce people to it and, critically, how it can help people use NotebookLM.
So the core purpose of this explanation is to create a self-training loop.
Yes. Gemini must become the primary instructor for its own platform and for NotebookLM, thereby completely freeing up the human operator from the foundational training duties.
In essence, the founder is asking Gemini to be its own marketing department.
An instructional designer and curriculum development team.
Gemini needs to write its own instructional manual and marketing copy, articulating its value proposition not just as a tool, but as the necessary friendly starting point for the senior user's learning journey.
Toward prosumerism. This is the definition of radical delegation.
And this strategic delegation allows for a significant focus shift for the human founder. This is the ultimate goal of the efficiency model. The ultimate goal is for the human founder to focus their energy and time on promoting the foundation, using AIPodcastListening.com for on-the-go education.
And this transition is a highly calculated, high-leverage move. The human is strategically shifting focus from detailed, time-consuming content creation,
Especially visuals, which require NotebookLM.
to high-impact, audio-based, relational outreach, and strategic partnerships.
The founder recognizes that while the detail requires source-grounded visuals, the scalable, relationship-building, and continuous learning aspect is best done through accessible, on-the-go audio content delivery.
So we see a very clear division of labor designed for maximum leverage.
The AI handles the highly detailed, visually intensive, source-grounded explanatory work via NotebookLM and Gemini.
The human handles the high-level, relational, auditory promotion, and strategic oversight necessary to raise the profile of the foundation and manage funding applications.
To connect this back to the 4 pillars of the creative playground.
The founder is delegating the bulk of the perception, reasoning, and ationation, the act of generation, to the AI agents.
And reserving their human time for the high-level communication action, the promotion, the vision casting, and the community building.
Right.
So to bring this comprehensive strategy full circle, let's summarize the intended user journey that the foundation is meticulously designing.
To convert a consumer fearful of future shock into an empowered AI prosumer.
This journey is a structured, intentional educational funnel, specifically engineered to reduce anxiety and build agency.
Okay, so step 1, start with Gemini as the explainer.
This is the entry point, the friendly, comprehensive private guide who can answer fundamental questions, define the terms, and provide personalized, non-judgmental instruction.
Alleviating the initial future shock.
Step 2.
Use Gemini to learn how to master NotebookLM, becoming an AI prosumer. This is the crucial transition point. The user moves from passive learning to active creation.
Using Gemini's coaching to master the verifiable tools of production, NotebookLM. This is the IKEA assembly phase.
And step 3, continue ongoing learning with senior AI foundation.org explainers.
This is the sustained engagement phase, using the multi-agent team, the human, the AI co-hosts, the tools for continuous modular learning.
Ensuring that reasonable relationship is maintained through ongoing support and community.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this entire strategy isn't just a plan.
No, it represents a dynamically active, iterative feedback loop between human vision and AI execution.
And it is designed specifically for rapid nonprofit scaling and outreach.
Leveraging AI not just as a temporary helper, but as a fully delegated foundational part of the staff.
Allowing the human founder to focus solely on the strategic levers of growth and funding.
The founder is asking the AI to self-optimize the outreach plan, explain the tools to new users, and handle the visual creation, the heavy lifting all, so the human can focus on the critical strategic auditory communication necessary for growth.
And securing those vital Google Ad grants.
It's an incredibly intelligent, AI-enabled nonprofit startup accelerator designed around Toffler's most urgent warning.
So what does this all mean? We've seen a truly remarkable strategic vision built from the ground up.
Combining decades-old futurist philosophy with bleeding-edge AI tools to solve an immediate, acute societal need.
The core takeaways are, I think, very clear. The mission is Toffler-inspired.
Recognizing the urgent need for explainers to mitigate future shock and prosumers to instill agency.
And the methodology is brilliantly grounded in that powerful IKEA analogy.
Defining the AI prosumer as someone who actively assembles, verifies, and refines AI output, ensuring reliable knowledge.
And the operational strategy focuses on radical, high-leverage delegation. The human founder offloads the heavy lifting.
The detailed explanations, the technical training, and the source-grounded visual content creation.
To Gemini and NotebookLM, allowing them to focus on securing Google ad grants through hypersensitive SEO.
And promoting the foundation through high-impact, accessible audio education. It's a blueprint for maximizing impact with minimal human labor.
But the truly defining element of this entire project and the key philosophical takeaway is that holistic goal.
The foundation's purpose is not just digital literacy. It's about helping seniors gain a more reasonable relationship with everything in their life.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you to explore as you continue your own learning journey. We established that a reasonable relationship with an AI explainer requires balancing trust with critical thinking. So if the entire goal of this foundation is to empower users by making them AI prosumers, the ones who must assemble their own understanding, how does that mandatory act of assembly fundamentally ensure that the relationship remains active, critical, and reasonable, rather than passive, fearful, or dangerously unquestioning?
And if we are all to become prosumers in the face of escalating future shock, what specific mental frameworks and intellectual boundaries must we assemble for ourselves, regardless of the tools we use, to ensure the long-term quality and integrity of the knowledge we co-create?
I mean, it forces us to take responsibility for the output, even when the initial draft comes from a machine.
Exactly.
That's a deep thought to chew on as you navigate your own relationship with your digital explainers. If you found value in this deep dive, share it with someone who is currently navigating their own future shock. We'll be back soon with more insights from the cutting edge of knowledge.
Thank you for AI podcast listening to Mike's AI Audibles about what I call the AI Bloomers Treasure Map, compliments of Senior AI Foundation Explainers. We are just teaching technology here. We are curing back to the future shock for the boomer generation that controls the U.S. economy. By leveraging Google's Gemini and NotebookLM, we are turning seniors from passive observers into active prosumers, a concept the Futurist Alvin Toffler predicted decades ago. We call these safe explainers, and they are designed with one goal: to simplify the complexity so we can focus on the human connection. Now, by taking the next step, moving to nonprofit status in 2026 to serve millions with Google's help, but we can't do it without you. Please subscribe for free right now. Don't just watch the future happen. Help us build it. Become one of the AI bloomers today, and let's grow with more reasonable relationships by understanding each other with AI.